Earlene and Steven show. Mostly Earlene. We're glad to see you guys. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. We are late today because there was just a lot of stuff going on. Earlene just got back from leadership training with the Meade County Chamber of Commerce. You guys were at a glass plant today.
Yes, we did. We went to a glass plant in Cordon, and we each blew our own Easter egg-shaped glass thing.
Oh.
It was pretty cool. We got to pick all of our own colors. Okay. It was very fascinating. I'm going to write more about it in next week's paper and have some pictures to share.
Cool.
I may be sharing some stuff on our Facebook page, too.
That'll be good.
A lot of fun
some teasers?
Yeah.
That's good.
It was a fun thing.
That's good. I think... I think that they're doing a lot of good stuff, and we've got a lot of businesses that are in support of our local chamber. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that is a great source of networking and just good information, business information. And it's always good to partner with other businesses just to know ins and outs. So that's good. They also had, there was a town hall today put on local farmers. The person who led that was Tyler Chapman. He ran for office against Nancy Tate. He invited Nancy Tate, and so she was there, along with it was Troy Koch, Billy Sipes, Judge Koch, Billy Sipes, Esquire for the Flaherty district.
Yep.
You had David Pace from the mayor of Brandenburg. He's also the, I'm going to screw this up. He's going to get mad at me, but it's the Industrial Authority. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so,
that's correct.
They were there because they've done a lot of work with the elevator and putting in a granary.
We wrote, they won an award for the entire country. They also won an award for the state of Kentucky, and we wrote about it several weeks ago.
The farmers.
No, David Pace.
Oh.
And the industrial.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. There is, there was a lot of great discussion. It started off with the elevator and why we still don't have one yet. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that comes down to having somebody who's willing to operate the elevator. The number one choice that was discussed was evidently by water, because it's more cost effective to ship grain up and down by barge. And then, of course, there was a conversation, well, why can't we do it by train? And there are some places that were looked at by the train. But the whole thing was a great, and I'm got to do all the writing now. That's why I don't like covering the news stories.
I know.
Well, I'm a marketer. You're the writer. But there was some great questions.
Sometimes we have to divide to conquer.
We do. But there were some great questions given by the group that was there. I would say there was probably, I could almost count the front row, back and middle. I'd say there's at least 25 to 30 people.
That's there. Good.
Yeah.
That's a good showing, especially for in the middle of the day and all those business people and elected officials.
Yeah, if you add up by the time you remove the elected officials and then the mix, I'd say.
Yeah, but still, that's a good showing for them.
I think so.
Yeah, on a Tuesday, lunchtime,
Well, and I would encourage anybody. I know that the judge rotates, and he owes us a schedule too. But they're going to start doing their town halls again, like every other fiscal court. They'll hold fiscal court in each one of the districts, and those are great opportunities. Like if you didn't hear about this one, this was privately ran. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a Nancy Tate put this together, Representative Tate, or the judge or the county put it together. It was a private one where they just came together and said, we'd like to ask you a bunch of questions. And they did it. It was cool. But I think it partly turned into a county fiscal court meeting because there were a lot of questions that honestly Nancy Tate can't ask. And Representative Tate, because the questions that were asked were in the hands of the local county officials, and it's nothing that was above their pay grade, if you would.
Sure.
In that, though, there were some great questions. There's a lot of House bills that are already on the floor. They just 4 days in, and there's like 239 new bills that were proposed, plus the 1,500 that they have from last year that didn't get approved last year. So there's a lot of work to do in such a short amount of time. But I think the biggest interest was about funding.
Sure.
I think the number that was thrown out today was $20 million to just build the thing. build it. Why don't we build it and then, then they'll come as far as the elevator operators. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that because no business is going to invest $20 million, or bank is going to invest 20, or the government, unless you have a plan that says, okay, how do we get our money back for taxpayers?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good conversation and dialogue, and it wasn't hostile.
Was it productive?
I thought it was very productive.
Good.
And I think that we might be able to. We'll see how it comes out, but it's going to take more involvement than just that room of farmers. We need to get all the farmers involved. But there was a discussion about what would it take to put a cooperative together where all the farmers own the elevator. And, that's not just a here thing, but you want to get a commitment out of those farmers so they just don't turn tail and go down south. But there was a lot of information. In fact, I would love to cover why are the lines so long in Owensboro and show a picture of that and look at the coverage when they go to harvest.
Sure.
And that's a lot of the complaint. And a lot of farmers are spending, I think the number I heard thrown out was $60,000 a year in fuel.
I've heard that.
Just to go all the way down to Owensboro. Yeah. And if we had the elevator between us and several other partner counties, that would give some of that money back. So there might be a way to get to a cooperative. When you start talking about $20 million to build something, and then at what point will you ever see your return on investment from that? How fast would you see that before you make that divestiture? So anyway, it was a good meeting, and I think all the right people were there to provide the answers, and they left with questions to ask to see what could be done. And I would be derelict, but I think Brett Guthrie's office representative was also there because there were issues that were brought up that were brought to the federal level. Are being addressed. And one of the issues that actually came up today was, have you heard this thing about the post office?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have. I've had quite the little earfuls about the post office.
So Brett Piles from the Water District, Mayor Pace from the city, said that they've got some of their mail was, because they sent out the bills for paying the water and the sewer and all these other things, but obviously water from the water board. But they were saying that the customers weren't even getting their mail until like 3 days after the due date. And now you're paying the bill late because you didn't have your water bill. And for a lot of folks that are on snowmelt. So what have you heard?
Well, just here in the office, we've had lots of phone calls since the ice storm, because that's kind of where things, really piled up and got behind.
Yep.
There are several people who've called and they said, y'all didn't send me my newspaper. Yeah. And so we go through the exact same thing. We explain to them how it works, that if, the newspapers are sent from the print. Yeah. So they give us what we have for counter sales. And
we deliver them to the post office.
Yeah. And then everything else goes. And so we explained that to them. And then some of them said that they have called the post office and the post office blamed us. But across the board, Amazon is having problems with. I got a Christmas card yesterday.
That's what Mayor Pace said. He said he just got his Christmas card yesterday.
I got one yesterday.
But this is a systemic, this is getting federal attention because the representative for Brett Guthrie said that their office is putting a lot of focus on it now because it's not just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there big. Was something that I had ordered, like the first week of December, I think I had ordered it. And it was one of those things where you order it and then they send you the bill. I just got the bill over the weekend. So today is Tuesday. I just got the bill like Saturday. And it was already late. So I called them up and they were like, oh no, we waived that. That's not a problem. We know that this is a countrywide problem. They're just overwhelmed. They just got overwhelmed. They were unable to deliver. I know they have that poem where
we can't go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the one about the postal service will deliver
rain or snow.
No matter what, sleet in the dead of night, whatever. But they could not risk their lives to go out and deliver during that heavy snowstorm, followed by ice, followed by snow. And I think most people do understand. It's just that now we've moved past that and life has gone back normal for so many people. except the mail hasn't caught up yet. It will. It just hasn't yet.
Well, I think a lot of that is in contribution to their ability to man their offices and maintain, because they do get backed up because they are understaffed. And I think, I'm sure when you peel the onion back, you'll find out, they're very understaffed. This has not been an ice storm issue. This has been an evolving problem. I feel like that there's a recruitment issue with trying to maintain. First of all, we have great ladies that work at our post office
and guys.
Shout out. Meade County does a great job to get our Brandenburg post office and our other smaller ones. Sometimes struggle because they just can't find the people.
They do, and unless you've actually had a personal conversation with one of them. I was down there a couple of weeks prior to Christmas, and this lady that was a deliverer, her personal car was packed to the gills. I mean, she had so many packages in there that she needed to deliver, and she said, "This is just one run. When I deliver these, I have to come back and get more."
Well, I'm going to transition to our sponsors real quick, and I'm going to come back to you for the community calendar and a little tidbit about what's coming out in this week's paper. Stand by.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's sponsors are, we've got Ray's Ford. If you're looking to buy a new vehicle, you can go to Ray's Ford and pick you up a brand new Bronco or a Ford F100 or F-150. I'm sorry, I say 100 because I used to have a F1. They don't make those no more. But talk to Keith. He's the salesperson there. Between the family of there at Ray's Ford, they've got great service, and you won't be missing out by making your purchase options with them if you're looking for a vehicle. Joe Redman, who is your local handyman, and he does landscaping and some other opportunities. He's also this week's sponsor. You can call him at 270-668-2858. I had to call him. He put a crew together to help me get the snow over at my other business. He did a pretty good job. He did. I mean, it was a couple of guys and a shovel, but that's what I needed.
That's what you needed.
Yeah, and that little repair that you can't get to, but you need to get it done. Well, these are the guys to call. Give them a call.
Yep.
And then Terry Woobry. I know I screw it up all the time. Earlene.
He's so bad, y'all. He's so bad.
Anyway, but Lakeside Bar and Grill.
We love him anyway.
Yep. They are the sponsors for this week's episode. You can call them 270-422-3081 for catering information, their schedule. They have a great, you can check out their website too. But they serve food at their location at the Lakeside Bar and Grill. At Doe Valley, you can actually have a good food and a good view.
And they just opened up their Sunday brunch.
Yep.
And it is to rave reviews, you guys.
Yeah.
Just, everybody is very,
you got time to get there after church.
You sure do. They're open till 2.
Yep. Thanks.
9 to 2.
Yep. Thanks, Pollux Appliance, for sponsoring this week's episode. You can call 270-668-8292. They service what they sell. Or you can go to polluxappliance.com, where they've got a great list of options that you can buy locally. You don't have to go afar to get your appliance needs met. You can go to Pollux Appliance right here in Brandenburg.
Yep.
And, I am excited about a lot of things that are coming up. I know that your team has been working diligently to get all the community events. Yeah. So over to you.
For sure. So a couple things that are coming up in the next issue that will be out tomorrow and Thursday. So some people get it on Wednesday, some people get it on
It's
Thursday.
already available on the e-edition.
Is it?
Well, if you subscribe online.
Well, you're the man. So one of the things that is on the front page, which we got this information 10 days ago, and it's pretty well known already throughout the community, is how excited we are to get Blake Powers in as the head football coach for Meade County High School. It's the 6th head coach that we've had, and he comes very highly recommended. He's a very winning coach.
West Point
Army. He is former regular Army as well, and then he and his wife are moving here. I think they have 5 children. They either have 4 or 5, but I think it's 5 children. And so we're very excited that they're coming here and making Meade County their home. We've got a really sweet little story that's in the paper. A lot of people don't know that, Muhammad Ali's birthday was January 17th. And a lot of people don't know that his mother was born right here. and her name is Odessa Grady Clay, and so she was born here.
Cassius Clay.
I know. She did move up to Louisville to raise her family, but he would come down here to visit family, and people don't know that. There's also there's a house in Doe Valley that people jokingly call the Muhammad Ali house.
Yep.
He didn't buy it, but he almost did. He went, he toured it, he spent a day at Doe Valley, he hung out. It's over in the estate section, and it's a very impressive house. It really is. And so residents there will jokingly call it the Muhammad Ali house. Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, and so that's kind of fun. So that'll be a good story to read. Our former judge, Joe Hager, he covered the city council meeting for Brandenburg, and it went really well. One of the things I do want to say, because we talked about it a couple of times leading up to Christmas, was the drive-through for the downtown Christmas lights. They collected $8,387 this year in that little drop box. You know, people just pulling up and dropping off. He said it was $3,000 up from last year.
That's better.
Oh, yeah, and I think it did cover the electric bill. And that's what he said. He said, we don't want to make money off of it. We just want to pay the bills, make sure that the maintenance people...
I would like to think that a lot of that came from publicity.
Yeah.
I would like, and people's
like
generosity.
Yeah.
But we are very grateful that everybody who drove through made some type of contribution.
I feel like they did. Our writer Stephen Spahn, he wrote a wonderful story about it, and he mentioned it in that. You and I mentioned it a couple times on the show. So I'm hoping that was helpful. To it.
Not the sole source for all of that, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a story that's coming up next week. One of our young writers wrote a story about, did you know that Meade County schools have implemented cursive writing again?
Yes, I did.
Yep, and studies have found that young people are struggling to be able to read cursive. And so a lot of our old papers, a lot of our old history papers and things like that are written in cursive, and especially that old style cursive. And so they're struggling with that. And so they've brought it back, and children are now learning how to do that. Again, there used to be, there's block printing, which a lot of children learn. And then there's another type of printing called Denali printing. And it's like an introduction to cursive. So a lot of children in kindergarten, first grade will learn Denali printing, it's like block printing, but it's got a tell on it. So then when they get to like second grade or so, then they learn how to connect those letters, which creates a cursive sentence. Yep. And so I'm pretty...
What age group did they open that up to, do you know?
What do you mean?
Like, where did they start? Where do you start when you begin learning it now? But since they brought it back, is it at first grade or second grade?
It's usually first, into first, starting second. Certainly in second grade, children are writing in cursive in other states, and hopefully now they'll be doing that here.
I had heard that from a couple of the teachers because I had asked when we were trying to do the kindergarten keepsake, and obviously... when you change hands in a business, there's a lot of things that slip through the cracks, or what was a process is no longer a process. Or our interesting problem was our ability to communicate, because they've got so many security protocols in, which is phenomenal. But it eliminated our ability to communicate quickly to the teachers and stuff. So once we finally figured out how to get messages down, when we finally started hearing from them, I had heard from a couple of teachers that were in that age group, and they said, yep, they were bringing it back. One of the principals, as a matter of fact. So they were very glad to have that conversation.
Well, I think it's wonderful. It's just so, it's great for fine motor skills. I mean, it's just wonderful. So I'm happy to see that.
I wonder how many businesses are going to have, like ours, that are going to have employees that have a gap because they never learned how to read it, and they're having to transcribe something that's...
I'm interested in how the gap, the educational gap and the learning gap and the comprehensive gap is from the year of COVID. Everything that they lost during that year. I know that they stayed home and they had the learning online and all that kind of stuff, but not everybody is a teacher. And not everybody understands things.
Or could, I get that. I get that.
It's and depending on the age level. Like there are certain type of math skills that I would struggle with because I'm an old school teacher. Yeah. There's certain formulas and things like that I struggle with now that they've learned just since. just since I've learned how to moved on.
I know there's a couple of House bills that are were introduced that are supposed to help education. One of them actually spoke to about moving children and giving other advanced opportunities by identifying those children that have those skills to learn quickly and adapt quickly so that we don't lose them in the mix of the other kids. So I'd be curious to see how that one unfolds in the future and stuff. But I know I had talked to you earlier about this, but there are so many bills that have been introduced into legislation with such a short window.
How many did you say?
It's over 200, and then plus you have all the 1,500 that were introduced last year.
Right.
And how do you legislate that much information? And it's not just like you can read every one of these, because you got to read the original bill and then the lines of change that went to it, that when they make a proposal, or if it's a completely from scratch, does it eliminate there's so much work
one of the
goes in
things
that.
I find interesting, and it's not just political, it's not just House bills or whatever, is when somebody has dropped a ball on something and it's been allowed to sit and fester for a while and not being taken care of, and then someone comes along that is truly sincere about wanting to take care of the situation.
Yep.
Then people want it done now. Like, hurry up, get it done now. They don't realize that it requires a patience. It requires a time for you to sit, and you have to consider the possibilities.
And you don't want to start reading one right now, because you got to wait until it comes out of committee and where it's at in the process, because I start reading it now, it's got 15 changes. Well, I want to read the final product and what did it change?
Right.
Because they have all those staffers that do all that work to give you the what it does. But even then, staffers make mistakes, so you honestly got to read the original bill and what that's going to mean to it.
Yeah.
You just removed all of this stuff. Well, you're going to impact this program, especially those committees are supposed to catch that, because they're intimately familiar with the details of policy, et cetera, for that topic.
Yeah, there's a process. There's a protocol and a process that has to be respected on anything. Baking a cake. There's a process there.
I happen to be a good cake baker.
Before you get to the end product. And it can be applied to every single situation that you face in life.
That's right.
So, you want me to talk a little bit about the community calendar? Did you know that Mike Lennon's is opening this Thursday?
I did not.
Do you know what Mike Lennon's is? Have you been here long enough to get that?
I'm going to pretend like I do not know what Mike Lennon's is. What is Mike Lennon's, Earlene, for all those watching out there that I've never...
Mike Lennon's is an old establishment. It's tradition. I remember going up there when I was a little girl. I'm not going to rattle off the address or anything like that, but you go up Dixie Highway to get there. And anyway, it's wonderful. They have, all kinds of greasy fried food, and it's just really yummy, and cold drinks. And there's a place to play for the kids, and you can just it's a good place to sit and relax and gather. They have indoor seating and outdoor seating, and they are only, this is the beginning of their season, but then they'll shut down in the fall. So they're closed every year during the winter months, and then they reopen. Although it might, I think this weekend the weather's going to be a little warmer than it's been.
Yeah, you got more wood over than this desk is.
I know. So anyway, I thought that was... Anyway, I was looking through the community calendar, which, by the way, we're quite grateful. One of our staffers, Tammy Beasley, puts this together for us.
Thank you, Tammy.
She works very hard on it. And so, it's a lot of work. I did it for probably 6 or 7 weeks before she did it, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a lot. There's a thing going on at the Meade County High School on Thursday from 4 to 8, and it's called Graduated Driver Class. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
I didn't know what it was either, so I looked it up, and it just says it helps new drivers experience skills. And so I guess they already have to have had some type of license for their age appropriate, and then I guess they take them out driving. But it's interesting. It's worth finding out about. So I may explore what graduated driving class is this week, and have a little chit-chat about it next Tuesday.
A little shout-out tonight is the Democratic Party meeting.
Yep.
If you're a registered voter, you can...
and it doesn't matter what side you're voted for,
if you go to the business meeting of it, I think you have to be a registered Democrat.
Okay.
But when they have the open session, it's open to meet, or usually they'll have an open session. I know Rachel was going to check on that for me, but...
we do have Joe Hager covering that.
Yeah, but yeah, they usually they don't go into all of the business of the party openly. That's usually done privately in the business session.
Sure.
But you don't want to talk strategy and give the enemy the.
Oh, no.
You know, and that's okay.
But we don't have enemies.
No, I know that, but yeah, it's like that thought process. Strategy is strategy, and that's what a business session of a meeting is for. But then they have an open session. I don't know if it's open. I know Rachel was going to get back to me, and they're going through their same process. The Republican Party's going through their process. I don't know if you know this, but every year both parties have to absolve them, or they don't absolve themselves. They have to completely break down and then rebuild themselves back up. I know you covered the Republican,
and I'm going to cover the Democrat one as well.
I did want to say that. I know she mentioned today that they're waiting for the state to give them their guidance.
Yeah, and that's what she told me. I reached out to her, and she said when we're ready to, I think it's called reconstruct.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're ready to do that, she said, I'd love for you to be a part of it. And I said, I definitely want to be. And I want to ask her the same questions that I asked Mark and have her explain to me.
Yeah, break it down like a shotgun.
Yeah, just like they did then. So, I know he's not going to like me saying this, but do you know what else is happening tonight? Mr. Eddie Bohannon is testing for his yellow belt in Taekwondo.
Ooh, you go, Eddie.
I know.
Hey!
Got to break a board and everything.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's a little bit nervous.
Make sure it's pine and not walnut. It hurts to break walnut.
No, you don't get to pick what you're going to break. They're pretty tough. So anyway, we'll see. I get to go and sit on the testing board, but I don't get to have anything to do with it.
You don't get to vote for him.
I don't even get to see his testing sheet. I just get to sit there in my black belt uniform.
Oh, I gotcha.
Look important. But I'm proud of him for
that.
Doing
Is good.
Yeah. We also have coming up on Friday, it's a Fort Knox post-retirement ceremony. Do you know anything about that?
Yep. Every third, is it the fourth Friday? Are we in the third or fourth week of January?
This is the last week of January.
It's usually the last week of the month.
So
that makes sense.
the last Friday of the month.
Yeah, it's always the last Friday of the month. They hold a retirement ceremony, and then, of course, it's usually around 3:30 in the afternoon, and then they go into like a right arm night and stuff over at the Saber and Quill. Most family, when you retire, that's a big deal, man.
Oh, yeah.
Your family comes in because they've been supporting you your whole life. 20 years to commit to the Army retirement. It is not just retirement. It's also for those that are leaving the Army and choosing a different career path, because not everybody stays until retirement. In fact, a large percentage of the Army leaves prior to mid-career. Then you have a group that's in the mid-career. And now that they don't do, it's not just a fixed retirement, it's like a 401k. You leave with a little something after 4 years. So you don't have to stay a career, and you can transfer that like anybody else does in a 401k plan.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So they do all that. But
and they're very emotional. The ones I have been to.
I still think back to mine, and I remember my family. If I had not had looked at my family in the crowd when you're standing up there and you're getting the flag and all that stuff is presented to you for your years of faithful service, because all I did is I looked at I had my uncle and I had my aunt, because my mom has passed, and they both looked at me and they said, and before we went into that, they said, "You look just like our father," my granddad.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you're killing me." And when I looked out there at the crowd and I saw them all sitting together, their eyes were just boo-hooing, and I was trying to keep my composure up there. It's difficult. It's emotional.
Oh yeah, it sure
is. Yeah, I love the new uniforms though, and it was a proud moment for me to finally,
Super.
Yeah.
Friday night is karaoke at the shop.
Yep.
I think we're all
talked to Eric today. Yeah.
Yep. I think our group is gonna stop by.
Is that this Friday?
Yep. It's
okay.
It's Jaden's 21st birthday.
Is it really?
That's what she's.
Do I have to tell her? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Everybody's getting older.
I'm not singing though, because I'm tone deaf.
Oh.
I mean, I'll make a joyful noise.
I know that from my birthday party.
Yeah, I'll make a joyful noise.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not going to present. Now Eddie has sang at karaoke a couple of times over at the club. He's good.
Well, if you want more community events, you can go to the paper.
Yep.
And check it out. Those are just some of the things. There's actually a big, long list.
Oh, it's a huge list.
All right. Yeah. And in essence of time, Earlene, your final thoughts. I'll go into sponsors, and then I'll just end us for the day.
Yep. So anyway, it's been a good week. We got the paper out really quickly this week. It's a good-looking paper. It's got lots of good news. One thing that you're going to find a lot of in this week's paper is we put the kindergarten K-Tab in there, and so we've got several pages of adorable kindergarten faces that are smiling and shout outs from their parents and siblings, and so that'll be fun for you to pick up and look at that. And I also want to make sure that people know, that schools know, you can put your class picture in each year for kindergarten for nothing. You just have to get it to us, and we'll put it in. And so we're plugging along. We're looking forward to February. Please look for our Valentine's Day things that are coming up. We've got some exciting and really fun things going on with that, and we'll be going into that pretty much a powerhouse in the next week. So keep watching, keep looking, keep reading. We're here. Remember, readers are leaders.
Oh, I love that. Thanks, Earlene. Hey, just one last shout out. Raise Ford, thank you again for being this week's sponsor. We appreciate you guys. If you're looking for a good deal on a vehicle, you can go to Raise Ford. Talk to Keith. Great service. You know, I've got to get my oil change already on that Bronco.
Do you really?
I do. That's how many miles we put on.
Man.
I know it. And they will come pick you up at your work and take it right over there as long as you're within the driving range of what they support, which is all of Brandenburg and a lot of Meade County. So go get your car from there, Raise Ford. Joe Redmond for sponsoring this week's episode. He's your local handyman. If you need some work done around the house and just don't have time to get to it, call 270-668-2858. Just call Joe. And he does landscaping, your small home repairs. I mean, he's got a lot of
We could say go with Joe.
Go with Joe.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate you. And then obviously Terry Hubry.
There you go.
From Lakeside Bar and Grill. They are the owners. They run a lot of good things out of their restaurant. You can go Monday through Friday. You can go Wednesday through Saturday. Sorry. And on Sundays, they have a brunch.
That's
right.
When
you get done with your Sunday service, you've got until 2 p.m. to get over there, and you can have a brunch.
That's right. And if you want to be a slacker and sleep in and miss your Sunday
270-422-3081. They also do catering. And Pollock's Appliance, thank you for being the sponsor this week. 270-668-8292. If you need an appliance repair, they're there. And if you want a new appliance or need a new appliance, they service what they sell.
We just bought a brand new microwave from them. The kind that goes, that has to be connected up in the, above the stove.
Yeah.
Eddie just ordered one from them.
Man, and they do great work. You can look at their lineup at pollocksappliance.com, and they've got all kinds of stuff. Earlene, thanks for another great show.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're awesome. We'll see you guys soon. Leave a message in the comments and let us know what we can do to keep doing better.
Yep.
Y'all have a great day.
Have a good day. Happy Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.